With the release of 1.19, the Warden has officially been added to Minecraft. Although it isn't technically a boss, it's still the most powerful mob in the game. My name is Pyxis, and I beat the Warden in 10 minutes with no armor. The Warden has two different attacks, a melee attack that can't reach you if you pillar up. It also has a second attack, a ranged sonic boom that goes through blocks. The sonic boom has a range of about 18 blocks. While the sonic boom will two-shot a player with no armor, the melee attack will one-shot. Let's move on to the strategy. I will be using a set seed because it's a pain to find the deep dark or an ancient city, and it will be much more boring if it's luck based. The overall basic strategy that I made was to trade sticks with the Fletcher to get a bow and arrows, and then summon the Warden at an ancient city, build up about 20 blocks, and shoot it with a bow. At the start, I kept going to the front of the mountain above the ancient city. However, at the back of the mountain, there is a massive cave with a huge drop down straight to the ancient city. On my first completed run, I got a time of 13:08. It was really sloppy and there was a lot of time to save. I needed to get more familiar with the strategies and the routes. The IGT, or in-game time, is the time I will be referring to throughout the video. A few attempts later, I got a 9:34. Not much changed, except for the fact that I was more familiar with the seed, and I had a better understanding of what to do. However, I still was not satisfied. I wanted a sub 9:30. Then, I got a 9:15. First, I went south to find the village. On the way there, I grabbed my logs from the forest instead of the village, which saved a few seconds. I collected gravel and stone from a cave, but a creeper explodes. The explosion gave me many blocks and saved time, instead of me having to break logs to get the blocks. At the last hit of the iron golem, I made sure it hit me, so when I killed myself to reset hunger, it would be slightly quicker. I used a flint from the gravel to make a fletching table in which I could trade 24 logs into a bow and 1 stack of arrows. It takes around 56 arrows to kill the Warden, but if I make too many mistakes, I won't have enough to kill it. This time, I killed myself with gravel instead of arrows to reset my hunger. If you use arrows, it will be much riskier because you will not only waste arrows that could be used to kill the Warden, but it will also be slower and less consistent than gravel. As I collected snow on the way, I ran up the side of the mountain, which was slightly faster than heading directly to the top. I glided down with my boat, straight into the ancient city. After I triggered the shriekers 4 times, the Warden spawned as I pillared up, and I got out of range of the sonic boom. This resulted in a time of 9 minutes and 15 seconds.
That was crazy! 9:15? What?
But of course, I wanted more. When I saw the iron golem further away than normal, I was worried I would lose time. Little did I know, that would save more than 10 seconds. Since there were cows near the iron golem, I could eat meat from the cows and completely skip the hunger reset, and just go straight to the ancient city. Luckily, I got enough meat from the cows to last the entire run. With the optimizations of the run, combined with me skipping the hunger reset, I got a time of 8:55. Overall, a pretty solid run that I was very happy with.
8:55, sub 9! Let's go!
I knew it was a really fast time, but I wanted to see what other people's times were. I checked speedrun.com and I could not believe my eyes. The world record? 2:25 by Spectre. A whole 6 minutes ahead of my fastest time. In the back of my mind, I knew it was going to be faster, but I never knew it was going to be faster by that much. The world record seemed so far away. It seemed almost unreachable. First of all, they used a completely different seed where the village was directly above the ancient city. Second, they used a sword to kill the warden instead of a bow, which would be much faster since it did more damage. However, the warden would still use sonic boom attacks to knock you off the pillar. But if you throw your sword before it knocks you off, you can respawn and keep your sword. Do that over and over and you can kill the warden. After a while of getting familiar with the seed, I finally got a time of 2:51. First, I headed to the beach to get the buried treasure. Next, I ran to a nearby house to get a bed, and I crafted a pickaxe and a sword. Then, I went down a cave straight to the ancient city. You have to trigger the Skulk Shriekers 4 times to spawn a warden. Every time one gets triggered, there is a cooldown till any Shrieker can be triggered again. Unfortunately, as of making this video, there's no way to speed up this process. In between each time I triggered the Shriekers, I collected blocks to pillar up. After the warden spawns, I towered above it and set my spawn with the bed. I made sure that before it knocked me off of the tower to throw my sword down, because if you die with your sword, it will fall off the tower and end the run. With the 251 as my PB, I was nowhere near satisfied. My goal was to just get a very clean and optimized run. There were still a lot of improvements to be made. I then got a 248, but I also made several improvements over the world record. First, if you break the wood from the tree instead of the house, you can hit your head on the tree, but you can also keep running while still breaking the wood. This can save about half a second. The most important improvement I made was the pillar. If you make a backboard behind you while you kill the warden, the sonic boom can't knock you off the pillar. Even though it can't knock you off the pillar, it will still kill you in 2 shots on hard mode, which is what the world record and I were using, so you would still have to throw your sword down before you die. The backboard behind the pillar did 2 things. First, it made it so you can get more hits in, because you could take 2 shots before you die, instead of taking just 1. Second, when you get knocked off the pillar, the warden will have to chase after you to kill you, which wastes time. With the backboard, the warden will kill you with the sonic boom, and it also usually stays in the same place, which makes it more consistent and faster. One minor thing I didn't talk about yet is the Skulk Shrieker placements. The Shriekers can be in different spots, even if you use the same seed every time. There are a few good spots, but if you get the Shrieker in the water, or no Shriekers near you at all, you reset and try again. Some Shrieker spots are more ideal than others. 232. Overall, a pretty clean run, and with a few new strategies and just practice, I saved about 20 seconds over my last PB. But I knew I could do better. I set my sights on the world record. I got another 232 and a few 236s, but I decided to take a break. After coming back from my break, I immediately got a 231, but I kept on grinding. As I was killing the warden on a run that had a pretty good pace, disaster struck. Remember how I said it will also usually stay in the same place? Well, in this case, the warden moved away from the tower and made me lose about a second. I was 1 second away from the world record. As close as I was, I had to go back to grinding. As the day was coming to an end, I finally got it. I got the world record. 222. 3 seconds ahead of Spectre. Besides the strategies I've previously talked about, I saved time by building my tower closer to the warden when it spawns, and if the warden stands 1 block higher than the ground, then it'll be more likely to stand in one spot. Also, I only died 2 times instead of the world record's 3 times.
Oh my god, I got my record! Let's go! Let's go!
As I woke up the next morning, I realized something. Without the backboard, you needed to die as soon as possible after getting knocked off the pillar, so you would use hard mode. But since I had the backboard to stop me getting knocked off, I didn't need to use hard mode. If I used easy mode, I could kill the warden by only dying once and save a good amount of time. My new goal? A sub 220. After getting 3 223s and a 221, I began to wonder how I would save a full 2 seconds. But I never saved 2 seconds. I saved 5. Way beyond the 220. I passed the world record by a whole 8 seconds. How did I do it? Besides building the tower fast and near the warden, I had a pretty good spawn that was closer to the buried treasure. Another improvement I made was to directly stand on the Shrieker instead of activating the Skulk sensor, which would then activate the Shrieker. If you use the Skulk sensor to activate the Shrieker, it can be slower because the Skulk sensor is also on a cooldown like the Shrieker. When you're standing on the Shrieker, you're constantly activating it, so it can be on cooldown as soon as possible. If you use a Skulk sensor to activate the Shrieker, you won't constantly be activating it, and it could be off cooldown while the Skulk sensor is on cooldown. Minecraft mobs will always have a way to cheese them. The Ender Dragon can be killed with beds, Withers can be summoned inside of Bedrock, and an anti-cheesable mob like the Warden can still be killed with a bow or by dying at least once, all without armor and any endgame gear. Thank you for making it this far into the video. My name is Piki, thanks for watching.